when you were in Diverse then, do you go to Diverse every couple of weeks? Do you still go record shopping like you used to back in the day?
I do, yeah. I went in, disappointingly, to get Sunflower Bean and they didn't have it. So I took a piss out of them.
Do you give them grief or do you have to order it? I did give them
grief, yeah. And then they gave me grief about not being able to order the white vinyl of Resistance is Futile.
Fair enough. So did you both sort each other out then?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Okay, that's the main thing.
So I loved it. It's actually really good.
Yeah.
Really good shop for vinyl and ordering stuff. So I'm still. The thing, to be honest with you, the really weird thing is, since we moved studios, I just don't go to Cardiff now, which I always loved doing.
So you've become even more anti-Cardiff in your rallying against it.
No, we just go into Faster, I'm in the studio there, just nip into town or into Cardiff all the time.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, when you find your work doesn't lead you somewhere, you just think, oh fucking hell, it feels like an effort now to go somewhere.
Do you feel free? Feel free from the shackles of Cardiff? Is that what it is?
No, I don't feel free. I actually, I feel like it's made me realise how lucky we were down there having Faster, and we love it up here, don't get me wrong, but the idea of literally just, especially when James was playing a guitar solo for fucking hours on end, I could just waste 3 hours wandering around Cardiff, you know. But now I can't escape.
Come back and he was still playing it.
Yeah. I can't escape now.
Go tend to the pigs in the garden or do a bit of lawn mowing.
No, it's been a good move. It's probably the right time. It was getting all a bit on top of us in Faster.
Yeah.
And for Sean, the commute was just getting hideous.
He seemed like a man reborn.
Yeah,
he was straight away talking about the traffic and how short the journey is compared to what it used to be. Taking like an hour and a half off the journey or something, or an hour or whatever.
And reassuringly, James is still always last in. Even when he lived in Cardiff, he was last in, and he's still last in now.
So, how do you feel it? I've been in them 5 days before the album's out. Do you go through a similar range of emotions every time it happens? Or?
It definitely gets harder because there was a time when you always thought you could come back from something if it wasn't quite. It filled your expectations, but you don't. It just doesn't feel like that anymore. I just think everything is so. You have to be so. I find ourselves we do. I would say at least 20 times as much stuff as we used to.
You seem like the promo has been like full on, isn't it?
Half of which I have no fucking idea what they are. These sites, and I'm directed to do is like, just send wire in. I've never heard of these fucking things, but I am assured that they're worth doing.
So because I thought you're on Twitter though, aren't you? Occasionally, do you just dabble or what? But you're not like Sean.
Really, no, it's not. If I was still drinking, I probably would be on there, but probably for the best.
Good thing you're not.
But I'm not. I'm actually not equipped in that world at all because we grew out of a culture where, even going back to our first interview with you, we probably spent maybe 2 hours our first interview from South Wales Echo.
Yeah. And about an hour and 55 minutes of it, I didn't have a clue what the fuck you were on about.
That's what I mean, though. But you kind of reach a conclusion at the end of it, and I can't be that succinct to feel like, I've won. I mean, I do. I use Twitter a lot. Whether it's you or Sean or the usuals or Kieran. I like having a dabble, but I don't feel equipped to have an argument on there. That's for sure.
It's too. The brevity side of it is. I can't keep it that succinct, really. I mean, I was absolutely overjoyed when they lengthened the Twitter count, It was like Christmas for somebody who's a bit verbose or whatever. But, I mean...
I wish I could be more engaged, but I just find it... the way, that there's the kind of precious nature of certain things gets so trivialised. Like I said, when someone passes away or something, or you think, should I say something? I get this... twist it up, and then by the time if it was too late now, everyone's going to think that I didn't mean it anyway. And
also it can seem like paying lip service almost in a way that everybody else is doing it, so it seems tokenistic or
I find myself
jumping on a bandwagon.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you would be quoted, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
it would be pulled out and stuck in the paper or on another online article or whatever. So
and I've always preferred the. Again, it sounds so old-fashioned. I've actually always enjoyed talking to journalists.
Yeah.
And you ask anyone below 30 now, and it doesn't seem like that is even in their head as an option.
Do you find a disconnect between... so obviously some of the press you've been doing during this would be half your age, I guess, maybe,
yes.
or something.
Yeah.
Is that apparent in the conversation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
And in what way?
A lot of the time, in the sense that they literally don't seem to know what the fuck I'm talking about at all.
Right. Okay.
And it's not even in a nasty way or anything. It's literally. I mean, I guess when you think back, you realise, well, yeah, this person I'm talking to was 2 years of age when Everything Must Go came out.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so that generation gap, which has been accelerating, I think, from when we were young, where I certainly felt I could listen to my parents' records, and I wanted to know about the Stones and the Beatles and Neil Diamond and ABBA. That seems to have widened to the point where I can't even pronounce half the names that, or the duets, or the number of people, you know, that kind of thing. Yeah. Let alone pretend I know what the records are. So,
how do you work with your? You know, please choose to answer this or not. With your kids and their records and stuff.
Well, I come home from being away, and I do notice big sections of my CDs. Like, where's my Sonic Youth section gone? And then I go in my daughter's room, and it's been placed there. So they're quite tactile.
You must be thrilled. Then.
Yeah, I am. You know, I'll pretend I'm not, but I'm deep down. I think. You know,
how old are they, Nick?
Well, my daughter's
teenagers,
15, and my son is coming up to 11.
Oh, okay, all right.
So he's more.
Yeah.
He's doctor, but he actually loves DVDs, and a lot of kids in his class are like, to them, then why do you?
Yeah, that's archaic almost to them.
Yeah, it is.
It's just a changing habits. My daughter's 9, and it's YouTube. YouTube's massive in her life, you know.
So huge,
I never knew that was a way that people were consuming music in a way, but to them, obviously it is. But it's just a change in nature of, you know, like James was saying, I just can't bother with any of that shit. It left me a long time ago or whatever. And, you know, in the job that I do, it's forced. It might not seem right, but you've got to sell yourself. It's like, you've got to be your own marketing manager and stuff. And it's
which we should be doing.
Tiring, really.
In all honesty, we should be doing, because it is that, like you said, you're marketing yourself. But I think we're grasping hold of the kind of principles that made us big in the first place, and trying to just gravitate a bit. But there's no. I think if you try too hard, you can be found out as a band. If you're trying so hard to be young, and you just.
But Sean's got this nice line open between the fans and him, and he seems to enjoy the whole process of social media.
Unbelievable the way he converses with fans. You know, it's just.
Do you find it a bit uncouth then? Like,
no,
just keep your distance, Sean.
From a man who's barely ever talked to anyone.
Is it like really revelatory that this man who was a mute in interviews is now the most chatty man online?
Sometimes me and James will go, you haven't spoken to us for 3 days, and yet you're having a conversation with people that you've never met before.
Oh, I love it. I think he's found this just really lovely, warm niche, and he comes across brilliantly in the conversation.
Yeah, I think his humour actually comes across on it. The kind of obtuseness of it.
My favourite part of the day is when Kieran posts fuck all Brexit.
Morning.
Good morning. Every day I'm liking it, and just leave it at that, but it gives me a warm glow every day when I see it.
It's 2 a day, isn't it?
It may be a bit of Welsh there, might be a Bolladar or a Prynondar as well. He mixes it up, you know. So, but anyway, going back to the album then, and where we're at, and being in a new studio. And you know, I know the album is retrospective, reflective in some senses, but do you feel like this is a renewal, a new start, a new beginning? You know, what is moving here in this album giving you in that sense?
I actually do. Because it's easy to romanticise it, but like I said, it was just getting a bit over-cluttered and over. We're just constantly under the threat of being chucked out of the studio anyway, and you know, we all know the urban crawl of flats and everything. Yeah. So it was less of a wrench for me than James, who just loved the actual sound and the smell of the studio and the work ethic that he could put into it. And it did give a new widescreen perspective. It sounds overly romantic, but you know, from quite a gritty urban, area to something where you're just looking at the transporter bridge and seeing the world spread out in front of you. Certainly.
You've fallen back in love with Newport by being here then and looking down from your lofty perch.
I live here anyway, so I'm a 5-minute walk and I'm into Newport anyway. So
because the place does get a bad rep, doesn't it, Nick?
Oh, it does. It does. And it just, it doesn't get it for me. Yeah. I'm not saying it's the greatest place in the world, but I'm comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah. It serves my needs.
Yeah.
And you're certainly not allowed to develop an ego.
Nobody allowed that to happen in Newport today, let's be honest. So what do you...
I can make... I travel so many different places around the world, it's just... you just make the most what's in front of you.
I like to pick... Jarrett does tend to put up a picture of you when you do come into... He tries to get his money's worth out of you, and I think you're holding the poster for the Record Store Day.
That's right.
Bash. Were you coerced into that?
Slightly.
Picture? Was that a sunflower bean trade-off right there?
I'm trying to buy a record half the time, and they're more concerned with
promoting For your own interest, it did do very well online, the picture, and lots of people shared it and everything. So
it's great.
I think
Look, it's great that they're still there. How much we used to, love for Spillers and the rest of it, and Kelly's in the market and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
I haven't been there for such a long time now.
Yeah. So, what are your hopes for the record? The chart placing still a very important thing for you, and
they are still for me deep down. I mean. I find it the immovable object that is the greatest showman. The most. Literally, no one, unless you bought that record, no one knows what it means. No one's heard a song from it. No one, I cannot believe how gigantically popular it is.
Yeah.
It's just staggering.
Yeah.
I hated Michael Crawford's bar on him, and this the circus. Oh my god. It's just one of those things that has always been just something I just cannot understand how that is so gigantic. So we've had we've had 4 number 2 albums and 3 number 3 albums.
Yeah.
So I would imagine we're looking at something around there.
Okay. Because I guess with the promo, the trouble is, you must feel there's so much, from where you started to where you are. And seeing the landscape shift so much in terms of how records are consumed, and with the streaming and downloads and resurgence of vinyl, and having to pay lip service to that, and the different versions that you have out. Do you get a sense the record companies don't even know what they're doing half the time, and it's just on a wing and a prayer in a sense,
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think they're lucky with us that they've found, that I'm always happy. I love marketing. I've always been obsessed with all that side of it and presentation. So I don't mind maximising the potential of a record. But when you go to that, the more like as you said, the paying lip service to things, and really that it's not going to add up. That no one knows, like you said, nobody knows, and it can be disheartening. Yeah, undoubtedly, it's the one. People got it wrong. Everyone, when Napster and everything first came out, and everyone thought there was this great attack on the man. They didn't realise that lots of major record companies were really philanthropists who funded indie labels, and genuinely loved music. It was the wrong way around. And then the people who took over, the tech giants, they never liked music. They were always like the people with the worst taste. Worst clothes, worst shoes, and now they kind of...
And they're giving it away.
They give it away and create playlists of absolute tripe. So,
do you... I don't expect you to go into exact details of how much money you make or you don't, but something like Spotify seems like the greatest rock and roll swindle, frankly, in terms of how little artists make from it, even those who...
Well, I think the whole thing is with YouTube as well. I mean, sometimes you think, you look and you've had 10 million views of Motorcycle Happiness, you think, that's all right, and you'll get a check for 26 quid.
No way.
Or something like that, I mean, this is not blasé, because for younger bands it's obviously vitally important, but you almost write it off as a band with... Lucky enough, we've seen the good times. We know they're never coming back to that scale. But we are lucky enough to know what all it meant in the past. So I feel so sorry for younger bands, just trying to eke out a fucking living.
Unbelievable.
When we signed to Sony, not only did we get advance, but they said, "All right, we'll pay you to go on tour. You can have tour support."
Yeah, imagine that now.
It's like you go to Germany for 3 weeks and then in Switzerland and Austria, you know. Yeah. You don't have to lose any money. Oh, right. That sounds all right.
We'll have a bit of that. I mean, there's a Cardiff band who are unsigned called X, Y and Zero, and they've 26 million streams on
Unbelievable.
Spotify. 26 million.
Perhaps they've done their own deal and made some money.
No, they have made money, but... So if you said to somebody who just had no prior knowledge of the way the music industry works, and you said, right, you know, I'm in a band and we've had 26 million streams.
Yeah.
And you'd be thinking, oh, where's your country pile? Where's your Rolls Royce? And, you know, it's, I don't know, it's like, I think they've made about 10 grand or something, which is a band that level to put back.
It's still decent, you put it back in.
For
like
equipment and whatever, but it's still, 26 million equals that small little amount of money. You just think that's scandalous, really. But
I remember when we got signed and we went to do a gig in Coventry Stoker.
Yeah.
And but fucking 16 people there, and we had 50 grand in our back pocket.
Wow. Fucking hell.
You know, off Columbia.
Yeah.
Which was fucking unbelievable, don't get me wrong, but that was the advance to sign, and it was like, this is amazing.
In a toilet venue, essentially,
yes.
I guess, or whatever.
Yeah, it was.
Wow.
You know,
that puts it in perspective, doesn't it? You
and
know
so
what I
mean? I am so grateful we were around when we were around. I can't express how bad I feel for anyone in a bedroom somewhere trying to think I want to start a band and conquer the world, because I just...
Is there a sense that you were the youth and now you're not, and accepting that?
Oh, there is, yeah.
I mean, I know you've got 2 kids, and children does that to you. They make you feel old, but
when they know more than you.
Yeah. When my daughter is just digitally so far advanced.
Yeah.
You know, I'm 49. I know you're still 40. Are you 49, Nick?
Yes, I am.
Sorry to bring it up, but you know, how are you approaching becoming 50? And are you going to celebrate it in any way? How are you dealing with it?
No, I'm not. It terrifies me, because I thought by this point I literally wouldn't care at all.
Yeah.
You know, that I would just fucking eat what I want and drink what I want and swear when I like and just not care about what I say. But it's actually gone the opposite, and I certainly say a lot less than I used to, because you know it'll blow up into something. Yeah. And any sense of irony or humour or just general piss taking, you know, that we all grew up with, gets just blown up into just so much. You know, I think kids I think Liam has shown that there's definitely a kind of old school romantic notion of rock and roll, because his gigs are full of young kids. You know, my daughter thinks he's a star.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there is definitely there's still a void there of something like we felt about Mick Jagger or Johnny Rotten, or Iggy Pop, just thinking, that does it for us. Yeah. You know, but I just don't know if there's a young band out there who will think along those lines. They're not allowed to, really, are they? The pressure's on from the start. Get your numbers up, do this, do that.
Yeah, well, you're not given a chance, are you? You're not given more than... Well, you don't even get to an album sometimes. And how are you supposed to sell singles? Yeah. You know?
If I was a young band now starting, the only way I could do it was I would, you know, sort of turn any kind of digital presence down and that, and you would have to buy any records from me with mail order. That would be my twist on it. Yeah. That is it. You're not getting it any other way.
I think if you tour really hard, somebody like Catfish and the Bottom are just a complete archetypal example of that, aren't they? You know, they didn't have anything to do with record companies right at the beginning. No. They just gigged, and it was so old school the way it happened.
They got really good as well by gigging, didn't they?
Yeah.
Like and they Beatles Hamburg sort of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it's a beautiful story. They played Goody Hugh in Cardiff, and Arctic Monkeys were playing their Motorpoint across the way there, and the Vaccines were supporting, and Van McCann and the guitarist sneaked in backstage, because they looked like one of the Monkeys with the leather jackets and all that. So they managed to get past security, because obviously the loading bay is just literally across the way from Goody Hugh. And they bumped into the Vaccines, and they told them who they were and whatever, and then they were watching the Arctic Monkeys at the side of the stage, and you know, you could say, this is a great apocryphal story, but it's a brilliant story, because he said, look, we're going to be playing this stage, this is our ambition, we want to be... the Arctic Monkeys, and then, I don't know, 4 or 5 years later, they were headlining the Motorpoint.
Yeah, I went to that. I went to see him at the Motorpoint, and I took my daughter down because she liked him. There is a charisma there.
Yeah.
And it sounds like old-fashioned, like I said, but you can tell they've really learned how to...
And they seem to have a healthy disrespect for playing the game in a way.
Yeah, they do.
You know, and there's not many bands that can actually do that, because they do have to kowtow in some sort of way, but you get to a level.
To see where they go next, it'd be nice if they even took it a bit further now.
So why can't the Manics achieve a similar Liam-esque place in people's hearts then with a younger demographic? They're kids at the gigs. Do you see that happening?
They still are. You know, it is a generational thing, definitely, where people have grown up with us. Their kids have got into us. Certainly around your level alone. Send away the tags. We got a new intake. But I just think that's getting harder and harder and harder. You've got to have a real carefree, fearless kind of attitude, which Liam has. You know, he is fearless. Whatever people think about him, he's really... And I'm probably not anymore. He's
become a rock... But is it because it's cartoon-like? It's like a caricature in a way, and that's easily marketable on a social media level or whatever?
Well, it's, the cup of tea thing from last year that was in its own way genius.
It was. Fair play. Whoever was behind that.
A little fella by there, you'll be... He'd be passing me the sugar.
So you can have little videos being put up. Did you have there was something the other day that you did from the studio, wasn't there, or whatever? Are you under pressure to do those sorts of things, or did the record company talk to you about? Should we do a couple of viral videos? Or?
They would like me to do more, definitely. As a self-contained kind of personality, nasty, slagging everything off. I think
you don't want to be Mr. Agreeable anymore, from Melody Maker or whatever.
They've looked at my history and thought, why doesn't he do that anymore?
You just don't feel comfortable in that skin then?
No, I don't. I don't. It just keeps me up at night, everything I fucking say these days. It's not as, it's still engaged and interested with everything, but I can't quite let myself go. You look back at the interviews of me and Richie and it would,
we were
don't know if it'd be
that.
Quite so tolerated today.
No, I guess not. I mean, but then I imagine you two in the digital age, and
could be interesting.
It would have been very interesting. Let's be honest. If you had your own joint Twitter account taking it, dismantling society bit by bit or whatever.
Joy.
Yeah, it would have been. I had a bit of a panic on that because you said it was after you played the Roundhouse, and there was a BBC story. That said we might not record another album.
Well, I was doing the
Where did that come from?
I was doing the red carpet thing. To be honest, my mum's been really ill. She's got leukemia for the last year. And
sorry.
Acute leukemia. So I've been up. Me and my brother been up Blackwood loads. My dad's 83, and he's amazing, looking after her as well. And it's just been. Everyone goes through it. We get to that point where your parents get really old.
Yeah.
And we've always been a really close family, and my wife goes up and cooks, but it's just hard, And like I said, everyone goes through it.
So were you feeling like?
But that particular day, it was just, it was a mad day. Anyway, because the Q Awards we had to play afterwards, which usually you just go to the Q Awards and enjoy yourself, but then we had to do the gig afterwards, and we did it, if James had said, but we had a bit like Everything Must Go, where we had lots of songs. We had No Surface, Kevin Carter, Small Black Flowers. And with this record, we had lots of good songs, but they didn't really come to life quite until International Blue. Likewise, with Everything Must Go, Designed for Life just brought everything into focus.
So you hadn't had that before at that point?
Yeah, at that point, we got Dylan and Caitlin.
Yeah.
We had Distant Colours, we had loads of good songs.
Yeah.
But it didn't quite feel... We're still obsessed with that. In Old Money, the first single, which is now, I guess, the first track.
Yeah.
So I just, at that point, I was just being a bit fucking miserable.
Because you bought a new studio, and I thought, hang on, what are you going to record in there? Yeah, exactly. I mean, have you ever had those times so you just don't want to do it anymore then? Apart from, moments like that where external forces are playing on your mind.
Quite a few times, yeah. Funnily enough, a lot of times when we've been huge, I remember at the end of This Is My Truth, I was just so genuinely fucking knackered.
Yeah.
We'd done about 3 really big European tours.
Yeah.
It was the one time we made a bit of progress in America, certainly in Canada we'd done all right, and endless UK stuff, and I was just a miserable fucker. And then I just said, look, why don't we do an album and launch it in Cuba? I'll show them.
Yeah. Well, it was a talking point, certainly, wasn't it?
But we did Masses first, and that was definitely the reaction. And I noticed the other day, it was obviously at the turn of the millennium. It was 18 years ago to the day since Masses had got to number 1 in January, obviously. Yeah. And I just thought, it really hit me, the thought of a record which starts with a direct sample from Noam Chomsky and ends with a quote from Camus, and in between is just guitars and shouting. It's actually fucking number 1.
Going to number 1, yeah. Unbelievable. But don't you...
that will never happen again.
But it seems like with this band, though, you have moments to rescue you.
Yes.
It seems like there's been records that brought you back from the brink, of moments where it's dipped or...
No, it has.
Whatever, you know.
And sometimes that's commercially and sometimes it's critically, because we're kind of obsessed with the both things. It's hard. Sometimes you get them together like Everything Must Go, which does both, but that is a hard thing.
Yeah.
You know, I think Futurology saved us in a critical sense, and the fans just think it was a late period masterpiece sort of record. Yeah. I think with Resistance is Futile, that feels much more like a broader album, which kind of invigorates you as you get older.
There's a line, I think it's in the Q review, about this sounds like an unreleased singles album or whatever it was, because it just seems like it's a broad palette of different sounds that you've utilised over the years or whatever, which I thought was a nice way of describing it in a sense.
It is like a collection of singles, you know, and it's a kind of pick and mix from lots of our records. I wouldn't say there's certainly elements of Everything Must Go. There's quite a bit of Generation Terrorist in there. There's a bit of This Is My Truth. A bit of Send Away the Tigers. So it's a bit of a... We just realised that because I'm always one for concepts and themes, and after Futurology it just felt like that had reached its conclusion. Just needed to maximise every bit of melody that we could. In that sense, because it's majoring on melody, is it a hopeful album? Is it, because you're talking about trying to make sense of what's going on? And I think we all feel it. You almost need a soundtrack to the times in a way. Because I feel a certain struggle to cope with just the sheer volume and barrage of headlines that fly away on a fucking daily basis. The digital hysteria, that volume is the best way of describing it, because the volume of well, you don't even know if it's real information, let's be honest about it. It's just opinion, actually. It's the volume of opinion. It's just too much, and it's too much good stuff, it's too much bad stuff, it's too much in between to disseminate. And it is an album of kind of bewilderment at times. It's not I wouldn't say it's a judgmental album. It's, like I said, it's not saying this was better or that's better. It's just really trying to cope and seeking art as that refuge, as that hiding place, to feel something is tangible and timeless. And there's nothing wrong with that it can really kind of lift you up.
I mean, the reviews have been universally great, haven't they?
It's been really good.
Does that fire you? Does that keep you buoyant going into the shows? You play big arenas, and on the surface at least, everything seems particularly colourful and optimistic in the Manic
I
world,
think it does seem it's a nice technical feeling at the moment. And we know that doesn't add up to what used to be, but then again, there's no bands apart from Bruce Springsteen. 13 albums in is just ridiculous, really. So, but there is I think people are sometimes people are just get a bit sick of us. But I think at the moment it's just a relief to have us back musically and just talkatively.
It just seems like the love never wavers. The crowds don't waver, and
But there's in terms of press and media, there's a time sometimes. Just slightly out of step, but this time it feels like we're in step with certainly a lot of journalists who feel the same way.
I think that this idea that we're all trying to navigate our way through is certainly true. So it's a real signifier for a lot of people, and an album that would mean a lot to a lot of people who can completely relate to what you're going through, what you're talking about, you know.
Yeah, and I think, you know, if you're that, you know, the more you do, it feels like that, the weight of everything, you know, you're in an ass on the record, on the radio 600 times a week at our age, it's still a massive thrill for us.
Yeah.
I can't, honestly, you're in your song on the radio, it's still, you could show me 1 million views on YouTube or, you know, follows on Twitter or whatever, but when I hear one of our songs on the radio, and we get so many of our old songs keep getting played as well, and as well as the PRS,
I'm glad you mentioned that.
At least that
keeps you happy.
Such a good old school form of fucking revenue as well, you know.
Thank God.
Someone else will probably fucking take that away.
No, I'm sure the Tories will tax that sooner or later and take that away from the British music industry. Or Cardiff will siphon it off away from anybody who's not based in the city. Sound diplomacy.
Touche.
Finally then, what's your views from here on in? I mean, I asked James, he said, well, he hinted at some grand follies that he had, ideas that he maybe, you know, he was saying, oh, Nick can do that, Sean can do that, why can't we do that? I mean, do you as a band sit around and dream up ideas of concepts and where we could go from here? Are you always, you know, talking and thinking about those sorts of things?
I think James has got a few plans, definitely, and I mean, I've got an exhibition of my paintings and Polaroids this year, which is pretty exciting. Which is in Tenby Museum, which is a beautiful gallery and looks right on the sea.
So how did that come about? Tell me a bit about that then.
I've got a place in Tenby, which even though I haven't been down for a year, is one of my favourite places on earth, and I just go in the gallery a lot there and just chatting to the people, and they said, why don't you do one? So
amazing.
That is pretty exciting. Cool. I've got to fucking do it all together. September the 14th, I think, it starts. That is, you know, I am increasingly drawn to visual arts, I'll be honest with you. It's my
it's a big thing though, isn't it? Always has been, you know. And,
it has, You
know, you and Kieran planning videos and visuals, and
I think the videos for this campaign have been astounding. You know, to have someone who I can just speak to, and then it just becomes fully realised times a million through his talent. It's brilliant, and all the quotes and all the stuff we do on the screens for the gigs. Yeah, you know, it's just. I mean, when we did Distant Colours, I just said, I just think it should be like the man who fell to earth in a slate mine in North Wales, but the Japanese girl, bloody bad. I can talk so broadly with Kieran, and he just knows what I mean.
But that was really striking. We put a story up, and it did so well because people loved the video. Yeah, you know, the places, and then the resonance of the little theatre in Blackwood. Yeah. You know.
I said to him last week,
32 years since the last time in slightly different circumstances.
Just a bit. I said that's where it needs to end. We need to be back in that theatre in Blackwood. Yeah. Preferably with some chips from Louis' place, but we did have them, but he wouldn't put it in the video.
Oh no. God, you could have 3 chips for life then or something, you know. So from here on in, you know, it's a difficult question to answer. Are the Manics just going to keep going to the point at which you all decide collectively that you've all had enough? Or
I think it's all down to the international blue moment, really, that one song that we always need something that overrides, that just gives us that tingle, that we know we're doing something that really excites ourselves, because the only time we ever work with an audience is when we're really excited ourselves. There's an odd occasion look, this happens to all bands where it's not going through the motions, but you kind of know, do you know what, this hasn't quite connected, you know, and it feels like this album so far has connected. So,
but you've changed up the live set anyway, haven't you? So I guess that gives you.
It does.
It brings its own.
It does, and to stimulate musically and visually, I think is just really important for us. You know, it's not enough for just us to get on stage and whack out "You Love Us" anymore.
Yeah. Your knees won't keep up anyway, will they?
That's fucking true.
I always wondered why you haven't been doing the walks that Sean and James have been doing to Machu Picchu all the time.
Unless you can find me a flat. I do the Norfolk Broads, I said, for charity.
On a flat? On a boat?
Yeah, I'm doing it.
I see what you mean,
Anyway, Holland, I said, I'll do Holland. A 5-mile walk in Holland, and I'm not getting on a fucking bike.